Boom. Told you. You're alive. Look at that. Amazing countdown. Here we are. And my device won't read my phone. How is everybody? Welcome to, I'm Michael Faber, as you can tell by the name on the screen. And Unleash You Now presents Member Spotlight, where we showcase one of our mastermind members and the amazing things they are doing. And today, it will not fall short of how amazing it is and this person is. And I don't want to ruin anything that they're going to say, and they're going to say some amazing things. So I will not be one that gets in the way. I try to stay out of the way. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Martha. And Martha, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, everybody, and Michael Faber. I'm so honored and I'm so privileged to be on your platform. This has been a whirlwind of amazingness these last 3 months. I finally got to meet you face to face in Nashville just 3 months ago, and my world has kind of just taken off from that stage. So I'm here tonight because I wrote a book in 23 days, and it is launching tomorrow on Amazon, and it will be everywhere else soon thereafter. So really, really excited about that. But more so, I just want to share from my heart for a second. Like, I could tell you all the hats I wear and all the fun stuff that I get to do, but I just want to share from my heart kind of with regards to what the book is and why I'm telling my story now. I'm telling my story now because I found my voice. About 18 months ago, I finally said, it's time for me to start using my voice for something positive, and I'm ready to tell my story. So a very snippet version of my story is I grew up in a religious cult. I escaped at age 25. In that first 25 years, I faced basically every kind of abuse that you can think of: verbal, sexual, psychological, spiritual, physical, of course. And so when I got out, when I escaped, I had to then figure out who I was. I had no identity. I had no self-confidence. I had no self-esteem. I had no identity. I didn't know literally who Martha Glory was. And so I had to go through this process of re-becoming me, or figuring out who is me, who is Martha. And that was a long and arduous and painful sometimes process, but it was also an enlightening process. It was a process of like, holy crap, I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. I have more resilience than I ever knew that somebody could behold. Like, there was just so much that I found out about myself and that I loved. And you know, it wasn't a quick journey. I've been out almost 20 years now, and it has taken me this long to be able to kind of put the scars behind me and be able to start moving forward and saying, now I'm ready to give back. I'm ready to help others that are stuck in silence. I'm ready to find other survivors and take them from survivorship to warriorship. Like, how do we stop being stuck in surviving and step into warriorship? How do we just stop existing? And that's what this book's about. That's what my message is about. And I just hope that through my words, that somebody that's sitting in that darkness, feeling stuck, feeling abandoned, feeling like they don't matter, feeling controlled by someone else or something else, will just find that light, that hope, that grace, and that love for themselves, knowing that they can step into something greater than themselves.
Whew. Every time I hear your story, I'm just like, oh my God. Right? Like, you're an amazing soul. And to go through everything you go through and went through, and to come here and do what you do, you have strength beyond my understanding. Also love that literally this is the power of sharing a story, right? You share your story, and immediately I learned something about Mandy Robinson, who's another. First of all, got a big shout out to the people that are commenting. We'll try to get as many as we can on the screen. But and then you find out that there's other people like that. Mandy says, I left 22 years ago, right?
Oh my gosh, I would love to connect with you, Mandy. Find me, please. I'd love to connect.
Right? She's in the mastermind as well, so it's be easy.
Oh, we haven't crossed. Okay.
Right? Now she hides. But she's an awesome soul. You definitely got to connect. But listen to the power of you being able to say what you're going through, right, and what you went through. give other people the permission, the power to do the same. And I love the idea of like survivor to warrior, right? And it's what you were already preparing for, you were already ready for this. Um, so tell me, like, because going from what you only know to what you don't know, right? So like that's typically where people hold back. It's because the devil you know is greater than the devil you don't know. They say, right? That's the quote they use. How does one like? How did you ever go like? You know what? I have to be willing to do this. And like, what was that process like? What were some things that helped you through? What were some things that came up that I'm sure it wasn't just like quick, smooth, and you were like, and I'm done.
No.
All right.
No,
So what was
it
that
was a
like?
lengthy process for sure. And some of the things that happened to me was, and you're talking about the devil that we know is more comfortable than the devil that's outside of that, right? And that was my exact experience, right? Like I got out, I escaped this horrendous, situation, and then I started recreating chaos in my new life, in my free life. Because I didn't know how to be free. I didn't know how to be in peace. I didn't know how to be just exist without all of the trauma. Like, so I started recreating trauma in my new life. I started drinking. I started doing drugs. I started seeking out bad partners, all these different things. And I talk about this in my book. I'm very open and vulnerable. Like, this was not just like you got out. I got out of a cult, and then I was like, oh, thank God, I'm healed and I'm safe, and all the world is right. No, like I messed up. I continued to create this traumatic circle until one day I realized that my physical body was falling apart. I was in my 30s and my physical body was a mess. I had migraines. I had gastrointestinal issues. I had back pain and neck pain. I had fibromyalgia. I had allergy issues. I had all this list of diagnosis from all these different specialists. And I was just like, how can I be this 30-year-old something and this a mess? And that's when I started realizing that my outer manifestation of my physical issues was actually what was going on an internal level. It was my trauma that was literally coming to the surface on a physical manifestation of that internal issue. And so that's when I had to start tapping inside and trying to figure out, like, how is this related? And the only reason why I realized it was related is because I'm a massage therapist by trade over the last 18 years. And I know that in the physical body, you can have a headache, but your foot could be the issue, right? Like everything's connected. And so I started realizing that the trauma that I had experienced was stored on a cellular level, was stored so deep into that fibrous spindle of my very being that I had to start getting to the root of that. And I wasn't going to be able to heal the outer stuff until I started healing the inner stuff. And unfortunately, our healthcare system is not set up to help people heal the inner stuff. They just want to give you a Band-Aid. They want to give you a pill. They want to give you, they're not set up to really make and help us do that internal work. And so I had to start seeking out my own holistic modalities that helped me to kind of dig in and do some of that internal work. So it has been a process.
Right. I mean, it typically is. I love that you're willing to share light on it and be honest and real about it. One of the things that gets me is when people try to make it sound so simple, so other people think, oh, well, they did it so simply. Clearly, it's not easy for me, so I shouldn't do it. I was having this conversation earlier. I want to see what your take is on it. We were talking about symptom versus cause, and that's something we talk a lot about, or at least I do with people that are going in or in the coaching space, right? Because I feel like a lot of our medical experience is, or the way it's focused is built around symptoms, not the cause, right? We go take cough medicine when we have a cough. We don't know why we have the cough other than we have a cough, right? And I feel like we do that a lot in our life is we deal with the external or the problem that's evident, but miss the thing that's causing that problem.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people know my story. I'm not going to dive into that because this is not what it's about. But when I was younger, I did things that were sabotaging of my life. I did it through like law and criminal acts. right? And when I found out I was going to be a dad, I changed that part of me. And I didn't do it through that way anymore. How it came out was I built businesses and then destroyed them. That's how I self-sabotage
Oh, yeah.
because I didn't believe in the worth, right? My worth or value, or that I should be receiving these gifts.
Yeah.
After I got to a level, I was like, you know what? Nope, not me. Destroy,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't until someone was like, what you're doing in every area of your life is because of this thing that you're not acknowledging. You're thinking it's, oh, you were a troublemaker. Oh, you were a businessman that just didn't know how to make it past this point.
Yeah.
But it was that your interior would not let you, because you would not deal with that piece of you. Right. So what is your take on symptom versus cause? Do you think that's true? Do you think we really go through that? And then how does one work to unblock or unstuck themselves from that area?
Right. So absolutely. And I experienced the exact same thing. And I experienced, because I had no worth, I had no self-worth, I had no self-identity, I sabotaged every time that something good came into my life. So I got married to a very wonderful man who loved me unconditionally, took great care of me, and I sabotaged the crap out of that marriage, right? And he stood by me when I had nobody else, right? My family was trying to build their own lives after cult, right? Like none of us had the space and the bandwidth to deal with damaged Martha, broken Martha, that was turning her life into a chaotic circle, right? So, but my husband was there. He was supportive. He was loving. And I just kept this repetitive, because I didn't feel worthy. And I would run. We would get in an argument. I would run, but I ran because I thought he would leave me anyway. So I wanted to run first, because I didn't feel worthy of a good marriage. I didn't feel worthy of a good relationship. And I could not identify as a married woman, because I was still a 9-year-old broken little girl that was traumatized and didn't know how to be a grown-up. I didn't have the tools to be a grown-up. So absolutely, all of those things, unless you recognize those things and you say, it stops today. It stops today. Like, I remember what my stops today point was. And you just talked about when you found out you were going to be a dad, that you were like, something's got to give, something's got to change. I can't keep doing this loop-de-loop, right? And I remember what my moment was. And my moment was, I was sitting in a doctor's office. They had just weighed me. I was 274 pounds, and they had given me this list of diagnosis of all these different things and sent me to all these specialists. And I'm back at the doctor's office, and I'm just like, I never want to see that number on the scale again. I don't feel worthy. I don't want to live. I don't want to feel like this ever again. And I went home and said, I'm done. I have to change my life today. And from that point on, I went all balls to the wall, went all in and said, I'm changing my life. And I put everything else on hold and said, it's time to get healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the things. And I started doing the work that mattered. And the work that mattered is, first, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, Martha Glory, you are worth being loved by you. Not by your husband, not by your family, not by your kids, your nieces, nephews. You're worth loving yourself. And that was the hardest person I've ever had to convince to love me, was myself. Because there was no fiber in me that said I was worthy of my own love. And so over and over, I looked at myself in the mirror day after day. I would look at myself in the mirror and say, right? Day after day. And finally I was like, damn it, Martha, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I had to get mad at me. I had to emphatically scream it from the rooftops. I love you. You're worth being loved, because damn it, I am worth being loved. Sorry, I'm getting a little, I get so fired up because this stuff matters, Michael. This stuff matters. And I was worthy of that love. And I ran from my own love. And therefore, I pushed away and sabotaged all the other things, right? And so, I lost a lot because I couldn't love me. And once I started to love me, I realized I had more of a bandwidth to love others. I had more of a bandwidth to be present for my husband, for everything in my life. And so, yes, that was a very long-winded answer, but yes, I absolutely believe in that. And it is. You cannot say it is not. It is.
One of the toughest things to do is look in the mirror and say you love yourself. It's one of the hardest things to do. I didn't believe it until someone said do it. And I was like crying in the mirror, and I was like, what the hell? All right, what's wrong? I was like, what's wrong with me right now? I said it must be a full moon. But whatever excuse. But it's extremely hard. There's so many areas you went, and I'm like, ooh, like we could dive into that. Ooh, we could dive into that. All right. One of the things you said was that day, right? That day you decided. But also that's the day it starts, but that's not the day it ends. Right. And I'm gonna say this is like it's a never-ending story. When you figure out a layer, you find another layer. It's like levels to everything. It's levels to this too, right? But what, as human beings, we're going to be like, we need progress, right? Like we need to get it. We're not getting the result. Like how do you? What would you say to someone that's like, all right, fine. Let's say today's the day. What next?
Yeah.
Right. Like how do you go through that process?
Right. So like you said, it wasn't like an instantaneous where I could finally say I love you in the mirror and then everything was healed and everything was okay. No, this has been a 19-year process, right? And exactly like you said, every time that I peeled a layer, I realized there were so many more layers, right? It's like the Pandora box of healing. And it's like every time you realize, but the exciting thing about that is when you open that next layer, you're like, oh, what goodness am I going to find here, right? Also, what pain am I going to find here, right? Because every single layer that I had to peel, I had to heal, which means I had to let it scab over. I had to let it become a scar. I had to embrace that scar. I had to put some body lotion on that scar and soften it up. Like there were stages to every single level that I had to peel back. And for me, the levels just kept on coming. And it was like every time that I would finish with one modality and I'd be like, you know what? I don't think I'm making progress with that modality anymore. I would find the next modality and I would peel back another layer. And I was like, damn it, I thought I healed that one. Don't you remember? We talked about that. We did that. I went through that. But healing is that it's ongoing, and you have to, like Mandy says, you have to embrace the whole journey because it is a whole journey. And it's, I said this in Nashville too, like there's never this end zone of been like, yeah, I am healed. Let's go. No, that doesn't exist. I'm almost 20 years out. And I don't ever think that there's ever going to be a time where I'm like, yeah, I'm healed because I'm still living. I'm still alive. I'm not in a bubble and life is still happening. So just because I'm doing and I'm concentrated and I'm focused on this work, this professional development and this personal development doesn't mean that life's without pain. Things still happen. My heart still got broken. I still miscarried a baby. I've still had one pain after another happen on the outside that I have to continue to heal now too. So it's not just cult trauma, it's life trauma. Life things will continue to happen even if you're focused on healing yourself and you're focused on developing yourself, or if you're focused on developing others. Guess what? You're still going to have pain in your own life that you have to continue to work through and you have to continue to heal. So, yeah.
You used a line I love to use, but I use it normally in like sales and objection, right? Overcoming objections. You said life will always life, right? And we always use life as an excuse, like only when it's this or when it gets to this, right? Or when it's at this point, then I'll do it. And and every time someone says something like that, I'm like, life will always life, right? Like if we're waiting, it just means that we're putting it off, but something else will happen.
Yep.
Right? It's like life will keep doing this until you say the time is now, regardless.
Right.
Right? Like the time is this time and we're going to do it now. And because worst case scenario, if you do it now, right, at least next time life's, you're ready for it. Right? You have these skills, you have this result, you have this thing now. Right? Coping, a way to cope, right? Way to get through it. All right. Also, you have a bunch of people chiming in. You got the room talking. You got the room talking, right? So way to go. I'm running through them. But I think the thing when you said the journey, right? It's remembering it's going to be steps, right? Like, and sometimes it'll be 2 steps backwards to take 10 forward, right? And those 2 suck. and it's not going to change it. I'm sure you've throughout your journey has to taken steps back and then went forward.
Yeah.
Right. I remember talking to you. You came up to me in the middle of an event, and you were like, "I don't like you, and I'm not going to sign up for anything of yours." And I was like, "Thanks for telling me." All right. And it was very weird. And then your sister, that's named after a town in Delaware, was came up to me and told me that UNC lost, and I was like, "Wow, I really love this family." And and you said something where I was like, "Whoa!" Right? You were like, "There's been numerous times in this journey that people have said things and they don't follow through, like they don't do it." And you were like, "How do I know you will?" And I was like, "You don't." Right? The only thing you can do is try. Right? The only thing you can do is give it a shot. And then the next day you were at the luncheon, and I was like, "Oh, okay. All right. Guess you gave it a shot." Right? But
well, let's just be perfectly clear. Your mother is the reason why I was in the luncheon. So
my mom's the reason for everything good.
Right? Anything positive that has to do with Michael, it's Dr. Minnie. But no, there was that whole event. There was just one person after another that got on that stage that I was like, booyah, that resonates so deeply. I want to be part of this family. I want to embrace what they got. And I want them to embrace me, right? Like there was just so much authenticity, and you can't make that stuff up, right? You can't make up authenticity. You just can't. I've been to enough of these things to like see not authentically people-ish, that was not on that stage. So, but back to what we were talking about. So when life lifes, right? The only difference between lifing when we are doing the work and we're on that healing journey is we have a tool belt full of tools that we can evoke when things happen, right? And a perfect example of that is when I went through my divorce or when I miscarried, right? Like those things are things that could have really been huge boulders and huge roadblocks where you just want to curl back in a cocoon and you just want to stop lifing because it sucks. It's hard. It's ugly. It is painful. The grieving process is endless, right? And so those things, like you could just give up, but instead I was able to bounce back. Not that it was less, that I grieved less or that I had less pain, but I was able to use the tools that I had learned on this healing journey to continue to help propel me forward, right? And so when life lifes, you got the tools, and that's the difference.
I love that. So you use the tools to bounce back a little faster.
Yes.
Right? Because then you know what you're doing during the process.
Exactly.
I like that. You made that sound very logical too.
Yeah, because it is. It is.
I never look at it that way. So little something happens tomorrow.
Yes.
And I want you to tell everybody about this little something that happens tomorrow, and then why they should have it.
So, a little something that's happening tomorrow is my book officially launches tomorrow. It has been on a soft launch for about a week, and I already hit Amazon bestseller, which I am humbled. I am grateful. I am like from every sincere fiber of my body that anybody wants to read my story. I am just so, so grateful to all the people that have already bought it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But because this was a labor of love, and this is something that I really feel needs to get out into the world, not just to tell my story, but so that somebody else doesn't feel so alone. Because I know that from all the things that I share in this book, and this is the feedback that I'm already receiving, is the vulnerability and the honesty that I share in this book. Other people that have not been in a cult but have their own traumas are like, I can relate. Yes, I get that. I've been through divorce. I've been through a domestic issue. I've been through physical abuse or mental abuse or whatever. So it's not just this. It's not just through this. Sorry, that was my niece that just wrote that in my heart, just like hip hoppity, because she's actually the reason I escaped the cult. Is when I found out that my sister was pregnant with her. So it feels total full circle that she's now a 19-year-old adult and she's watching me live talk about my book. That is literally the reason why I'm out of the cult, is because she was in her mama's belly, and I needed to be home to be with my sister when she was pregnant. So that was a full, sorry though. That was a real moment when I saw her name pop up. So,
only moments I like.
So why do we need it? Why we need it is because Glory Going All In is all about making others feel less alone. And it's all about getting out of just surviving and becoming a warrior, right? So this is my story. This is my cult story. This is my healing journey. And it's my, I'm now a certified life and health coach, or a life visionary, as I like to call it. And I help people go from surviving to warriors. I get them out of that stuck. We use the principles, and I put all the principles in this book that go with my Going All In program. And then, so why you need it is because if you know somebody that's stuck, because you're probably not the stuck one, somebody else is probably the stuck one, give it to them, gift them. You need to give it to them, share it. But also you just feel less alone when you know that somebody else has been through stuff that you can relate to. So.
Definitely, 100%. Congratulations first on first book. Second, Amazon also already a bestseller, right? On a soft, your official release tomorrow. So on release day, it will be a bestseller, right? Which is something that we really pride ourselves on here, is having successful launches. And you can definitely say you've had one.
Yeah.
All right. Even though you yelled at me a lot through the process. And the book is like a walk through the journey of you, but at the same time, they're learning the things they can use for themselves in the situations that they find themselves in, or in what they find other people. It's what I always say about a good read is it's a great gift, right? And for us to walk through that journey, we're all going to walk through it in our own ways for our own things. Having the tools and things and community and people in place that you can go to is huge. So let me ask you a question, like going through your journey, and you have your principles and the tool belt and stuff. What are some of the things that you thought that now you can sit here and go, these are huge pieces, right? That someone might not know that they could then add to theirs.
Yeah. So for me, the very biggest piece for me, and this starts because of the cult. When I got out, I was mad at God. I was mad. I didn't want anything to do with religion. I didn't want anything to do with God. I didn't want anything to do with anything that had to do with anything kind of organized, right? And I still am not a huge proponent of organized religion, but I have restored my faith. And when that was one of the first things that I had to find in order to find myself. And why I say that is because during that time of being able to look at myself in the mirror and say, Martha, I love you. Martha, I love you. Martha, I love you. Right. I had to first realize that I was made in the image of God, and I was a unique individual, and I was perfect and wonderful, just like I was, as broken as I was, as messed up as I was, as beat up as I was, as scarred as I was. God still loved me. And I was perfect in his eyes. And when I started really being able to like envelop that love and that understanding, I was like, well, if God loves me, how can I not love myself? Right. So for me, faith was one of the biggest things that helped me to continue to do the work. And it started with God's love. The next thing is that I would share is forgiveness. Forgiveness was such a huge part of my healing journey. And I remember the first time when I started having to really look at forgiveness in the face. And I was like, why would I forgive somebody that raped me at 9? Why would I forgive somebody that beat the hell out of me for 20 years? Why would I, forgive somebody that starved me for 5 months and kept me why would I forgive these monsters, right? And what I came to understand on such a deep and energetic level, cellular level, is that the forgiveness is not for the other person. I don't give two shits if they ever know that I forgave them. I forgave them because of me. I forgave them because I'm worthy of forgiveness. And it set me free from being held down by this rock in the bottom of the ocean, shackled and held to all eternity if I didn't do it, right? Like I had to forgive it for me, to set me free, to find my freedom, to find my voice, to find everything that I was created to be. I had to set myself free from that pain. I had to set myself free from those things, right? And so those are the two biggest things that really propelled my journey. There's many more, and you can read all the principles in my book, but those are the two that I love what Allegra just said. Yes. I don't know if we can say the F, but yes.
Clearly. I love that. Those two are huge, of course. Right. One of the things I think is so key too is like that you're still willing to go do the things and be in the spaces. And one of the reasons why I was telling the story about when you coming up to me was people have let you down, but you still go with people, right? And you still open your heart for people, and you still share for people, right? And I think there's no longer a huge strength in that, right? But also it's empowering no longer to yourself, right? It's like a muscle. The more you use it,
the more you flex it. Yeah.
Right. It's good.
We're meant for community, Michael. We are not meant to do life alone. I really believe that with everything that I am, is that we are meant for community. And I have 9 brothers and sisters. I've never been alone, right? I've never been physically alone, but there is a loneliness that comes with trauma. And when I got out of the cult, I was so alone. Even if I was around people, I was still alone because I was stuck in this prison of myself. And so now, after being set free from that and doing the work to heal that, I want to touch those people and I want to give them a hug that feel that loneliness, because there's nothing worse than feeling lonely when you're with people. Right? And trauma makes you feel all alone, makes you feel like nobody will understand you, that nobody will, that somebody will lose respect for you or whatever. Right? And I talk about trauma being like the 3 Ps, right? When we're stuck in trauma, we feel like it's personal, we feel like it's permanent, and we feel like it's pervasive. We feel like it's never going to end, right? And we feel like it's personal. Nobody's going to understand me. I'm stuck. This is my crap. This is my trauma. Nobody's going to get it. They're going to judge me if they do get it. And then, the permanent, right? It's forever. I can't get out of it. It's just my life. It's my death sentence. And all of those things are incorrect, right? When you let your guard down and you say, no, I do need help. I don't want to continue to feel like this. And that's what I want to do. I want to be that person that says, I got you. I feel you. Been there, done that, got that t-shirt. Don't want you to have to get it, right? I want you to be able to look at my story and hear my story and say, that's me. And there is help, and there are people that will listen. There are people that will walk alongside of you. And that's what I saw with you and your organization, Michael, is that I saw you guys saying, we'll walk alongside of you. I don't care how crazy you are. I don't care how broken you are. I don't care what your story is. I love you anyway. Even if you are an NC State fan, I still love you, right? That's how we roll. And so I had
probably the hardest one.
I had to throw that in. Sorry, that was all for turn. I had to throw it in.
That was the hardest one for me to take. I really liked you until that point. I was like, no, she's dope. She likes NC State. I was like, no, right? I said I got over it. I clearly haven't, but I'm working on it. And so let's say I'm your ideal client. I'm here. Oh my God, you know who had to show up and say her piece?
Mama!
Mama! After she got done saying that my mom was the only reason why she joined.
She must have heard us talking about her.
All right, yeah. And Judy's amazing. She's awesome. When your ideal client comes to you, right? Let me get back on track now. Mom threw me a curveball. What is something that you're gonna help? What is something that they could either change a perspective, a viewpoint, a thought, and action quickly to get them onto track to start leaving that phase, that state of survivor mode, right, to warrior mode?
Yeah, The very first thing that you have to do is be able to look at yourself and want better. You have to surrender to what it is and realize what it can be. And so I cannot convince you to love yourself. I can give you all the tools in my tool belt, but until you look at yourself and say, I'm worth the healing, I'm worth not just staying as a survivor, but stepping into warriorship, that's the first step, is you have to say, I am worthy of that. I want to peel back and figure out who I am, what my talents are, what my gifts are, and who I'm meant to be. But first, I have to accept myself. I have to surrender to all that is in order to step into all that can be. And you can't do that without looking at yourself first. You have to be able to look at the mirror, and you have to be able to say, I'm worthy of it. I'm ready to do it. I'm surrendering and I'm stepping in.
Right. One of the silliest arguments to me always is the people that argue like what's more important, motivation or discipline. And I always think that's one of the silliest arguments. I used to have two basketball coaches. I used to coach basketball. These guys would argue about it all the time, like it mattered. And I would always say neither one's relevant if purpose isn't involved. Right. And when you finally say like, I deserve better, I'm going to go get better because there's something to it.
Yeah.
Right. Then that's when it can fully change. And like you'll make action that you don't have to worry about being motivated or disciplined to do because it's you.
Yeah.
Right. Like people are like, how do you like go to work every day? I'm like, I love this.
Right.
Like I want to do this. People like literally are like, yo, take time, just do something else. I'm like, why would I want to do this?
I mean, it's Memorial Day and you're hanging out with me. So, I mean, that shows you how much you love what you do.
Best Memorial Day yet. Best Memorial Day yet. Amanda Ruer's in the house, dropped some stars. Shiloh Webb dropped Believe in the Unseen, making me read.
Yeah.
How hard it is for me to read. Also, I'm going blind reading your book on a Kindle. Self-love is awesome. I love it. Always working. 100%. Yes. Also love this. Invest in yourself.
Yes. 100%.
Right? When let me ask you this, because that's something that's good, right? You go through what you went through, which is, to me, I'm like, right? Like you were in a cult, you come out of a cult, and you go through your own self-injurious or own self-doubt that creates this lifestyle of it's always going to fail, right? Like we're always going to have to go back. And yet you find your way, like you keep pushing, you keep going, and you keep doing it. And then you decide, like, listen, I'm going to go to these events, right? Like I've seen, I saw you at one of our events. The other one was a women's retreat, and they don't let me go in because of my beard. But they say it's too obvious. But what made you and kept you committed, even though sometimes it hasn't worked out, to keep investing in yourself for the next thing, right? Like what gave you that confidence to start and what gave you that confidence to keep going? I'm encouraged.
So once I realized that I was worthy of the healing and I went through my journey of healing, I had to then say, okay, am I going to keep this all to myself or am I going to share it with others? Because there's other people that have gone through things, right? Like when you find something awesome and amazing, you don't want to keep it to yourself. You want to share it with the world. You want to be like, shout it from the rooftops, guys, there's hope, there's help, there's healing, right? So I just became passionate about wanting others to understand they're not alone, wanting others that had been in the places that I had and had felt the things that I have felt, that to understand that there is healing, there is help, there are people that care, there is community, right? And so I cannot ask people to invest in me if I'm not willing to first invest in myself. And so I was like, if I want to truly coach and if I want to truly step on stages, then I have to go be a participant. I have to go to these events. I have to go sit in the audience. I have to watch people doing the things that I want to do. I have to invest in me first. And once I invest in me, then when the doors open, I'll be ready. And that's what happened. So I started doing these types of events. I started pouring into myself, investing in myself. And then the doors started opening and I started being able to start stepping on the stages. I started being able to share on a bigger platform. And then I joined this family. So it's all about investing in me first so that I have something to invest for others to invest in me for, right? So a coach needs a coach, a healer needs a healer. We all need somebody that is supporting us, no matter what it is, right? An accountant needs an accountant, a lawyer needs a lawyer, right? We all need each other. We all need this community. And so I had to create that community for myself once I realized what I wanted to do with my healing. And what I wanted to do with my healing was to start sharing, to start helping others feel less alone, start helping others to understand that there's not these jail bars around you when you've experienced trauma. There is a place to go. There is healing, but it's all inside. You have to go inward, not outward first, right? So, yeah.
You led me to this. You're doing really good, just taking me down the path. I feel like I shouldn't even be here. You just talk. Go through all the things you went through, right? Everybody has their heart. I always hate when people compare hearts. Like your heart's your heart. Our body doesn't know the difference. It releases the same chemicals.
Pain is pain. Yeah.
Right. So you go through your heart, right? And no longer do you start working through the process of healing, right? Of mending, right? Of growing. I think it's like a twofold. It's like we're like healing stuff while also growing into, right? And then you decide to write the book. You decide to stand on the stage. You decide to speak in front of people and tell this thing. Where did that courage come from? What was that process like? And anyone that's sitting there holding back on their story, which I know there's some in this room, right? What would you say to them to get them to take that leap and to stand with that courage to say, this is my story and this is why I tell you?
So what I learned a long time ago is that everybody has a story. And I have, before I was ever ready to share mine, I watched documentaries, I read books, I filled myself with other people's story because it made me feel less alone. And when I came to the understanding of everybody has a story, that was like powerful for me. And the first time I shared it publicly was in an anthology where I shared just a chapter. And that was a cool experience because I got to meet 20 other authors in Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors. And I got to share my story along with 20 other survivors. And that was powerful. And then that gave me the bug of like, okay, like I was vulnerable and I put out one chapter. What if, what if there's more? And I felt like there was a book inside of me for the last 10 years. And I was just too scared because my scars and my ugly and all the yuck, I was like, I don't want everybody to see that about me, right? And when I came to your event in March, and it was just one person after another, sharing their truths, sharing their stories, sharing their ugly, I was like, their ugly is cool. Just ugly is what? I'm not alone, right? And I was like, okay, this is clearly a divine message that says, Martha, either shit or get off the pot. It's time to share. It's time to step in. It's time to do this. It's time to. And then I had a conversation with Dr. Obam, and he was like, all right, Divine, let's go, and it was like, okay, I can't run from this anymore. And I had a previous conversation with another mentor like the week before your event, and it was all these things leading up, and I was like, okay, God, got it, loud and clear. It's time to write the book. And so I came home from your event and sat down and wrote it in 23 days. And because it was ready, right? Like I've been carrying it around. And finally, it was like, it's time to let it out. It's time to set it free. And it was such a cathartic and amazing and inspiring whole just divine experience for me writing, because it was just like, I felt like God was like sitting on my shoulder and was like this. And so I would read it back and I was like, those are not my words, but they are smart. And I just wrote that. That's pretty good, Martha. Like it was just such a cool experience. And so if anybody's reading this, remember that your story is just as good as mine. Your story, but you have to share it. You have to have the courage. You have to have the vulnerability. You have to step into the authenticity to say, you know what? That's my past. You should see where I'm going. Watch where I'm going. That's what you should be watching, right? Like that's the way I'm looking at it now. Like everybody's going to read all the ugly, but keep an eye because Martha Glory's going somewhere and you're going to watch it. So, and the same goes for them.
I love that. Yeah, when you said you did it in 23 days, I was like, yeah, like 9 years and 23 days. All right, it came onto the paper in 23 days. But this story has been written for and was being written for a while.
Yes.
Right. I had the same experience with the first book I wrote. I was like, what the hell? What am I going to write? Like, I failed third grade. Like, who wants to read anything I got to write? All right, it'll be scary. I still say it's the worst book ever written, but all of a sudden they were like, all right, cool. I was like, you know what? I'll write a book. I'll do it. It was a bet, and it was like a month later. I was like, oh, the book's done. They were like, what? Right, and I was like, oh, it was my life, right? Like I've been writing it for years. I just have to say it. Right. I just have to say it into transcribe because that's how I write books, by the way. Yeah, because I type like it and we'll be here all day. So I do a little nice transcribe thing and then cut it up. But it's just having the courage to do it. It's there. You just have the courage to do it. Like we all have a story. It's there. You just need the courage to say it.
Yeah.
We all have a book, right? We just have to have the courage to write it.
Yeah.
All right. So now you've been on the soft launch. You've bestseller, right? Already. Your official launch is tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? What has the experience been like?
I mean, you've seen me every week show up and just be like it's been unbelievable. It really has. It just feels like crazy, amazing, divine. It's just awesome. I don't have words because it's just been one blessing and one amazing thing after the other. And so every week I feel like I show up to you and you're like, so how are things going? And I'm just sitting there like, I can't wait to tell you because there's just so much awesomeness. And so, no, it's been, I think when we are truly being ourselves and we're truly in our giftings, it's easy. We're in the flow. And I've definitely been in the flow. This has been the experience of writing this book, but this has also been the experience of getting ready to launch it and also start speaking in June in Orlando. And then again, with you guys, like there's just so many cool opportunities that keep popping up where I'm just like, I'm ready. Like, and my mentor said something to me when I first told him. I was like, okay, it's go time. We're writing this book. I told him what happened in Nashville and he's like, so I just want to remind you that like I told you this 9 months ago, like God's got something for you and it's time for you to step into that. And I'm like, I know, but like, and he's like, you want to know if you're ready? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you're so ready. And that's what I feel like now. Like there's no nerves of like, am I ready to step on the stage? No, I'm ready to step on the stage. Am I ready to write the book? No, it's done. I'm launching it tomorrow. Like that's where this is, right? Like that's, Mandy, thank you so much. I just want to hug you. I can't wait to meet you. But yeah, this has just been that experience of like, it's time to shine my light. It's time for me to share my story. It's time for me to continue to help other people. It's time for me to launch this trauma recovery program, in my coaching program. Like it's time. This is divine timing. And it's time for me to do what I'm meant to do and stay in my giftings. And that's what's happening right now. So.
You're awesome. I love all the comments, and you are definitely glowing, radiating light. You're blinding, and we love it. All right.
Thank you.
So if someone's out there where you were, what would you tell them?
Just know my heart, and know my heart is that you don't have to do this alone. I did it alone for a very, very, very long time, and it's a lonely trek, and you don't have to do it alone. Find a community. If it's not me, find your own community. Know that there are people out there that will help. There are people out there that will listen. There are people out there that have this space that they can hold for you. But email me, find me on social media. Like, I'm here. Like, I'm just here as a friend. Even if I don't coach you, like, I'll be here as a friend. I'll be here to be your pen pal if that's what you need, because I don't want you to feel like you have to do this alone. And it still is very, very close to the surface for me of like knowing where I was and where I get to be now. But it's not been without a lot of hard work. It's not been without God. It's not been without my family. It's not been without my support system. It's not been without the investments that I've had to make in myself to get me where I am. So just know that it's not this snap, crackle, pop thing. Like, it's not, I love how Spencer talks about, it's not butterflies and unicorns and rainbows all the time. No, it's not. Sometimes it's muddy puddles and it's, rain clouds and it's stepping on a banana peel, right? Like that's sometimes those days, but it makes up the journey, right? All of that makes up the journey. And so I'm really excited to be on this journey. And thank you so much, Jim. I'm just really excited to be on this journey. And if I can hold anybody's hand on this journey, or if my book can give you that umph to get over the hump and just know that you're worth finding yourself, right? I have this keynote speak that I've done that says before I was me and before I knew me, right? And that's all about getting back to who is Martha in the first place. And that was a process. I had to get back to who I was meant to be, who God created me to be, this wonderful, unique, amazing human. So I'm excited to be able to be any part of anybody's journey.
That's awesome. All right. Oh, I love this one.
So that's my niece.
Mm-hmm. I remembered. The amount of
Thank you, Allegra.
support, right, and love being poured in as well as you're pouring. It's beautiful. It was like, I remember before we started, I said I was going to make you cry. I really didn't think I was, but I'm glad we had that moment. I can't wait for all the clips of that to come out. That'll be a meme. Wonder what he said. It's
about being real and authentic, and we're not real and authentic if we can't really be real and authentic.
100%.
And that means tears sometimes. And I ugly cry, 100%. And I kept my ugly cry put away.
You did a great job. You did a great job. You did a great job. I was impressed. I thought we were going to the ugly cry. I was like, here we go. All right. I was like, I'm going to let this
I'm not
just
even
rock.
ashamed. Nope.
No, you should not be. That's awesome. Also, it's spot on. One of the biggest things that'll move you further and faster is knowing you're not alone and finding your people. Right? Like when you can, I would say now the hard days are not what they used to be because I got a bunch of people, all right, or a couple, and they're right, and they, the way your people will pour into you and support you and be there, right, and it's one of the best things I heard. Someone said, "You in this group, you don't have to cry alone," and I was like, "You can cry with people," and I was like, "That's a weird compliment, but I'll take it," right? Like, I like that, right? Like, you don't have to cry alone. I was like, dope. And when you find your people, you don't have to cry alone. Yeah. And us, we're the same in this area. Anyone going through anything, I don't care if I know you or not. All right. We're a message away. All right. Like you can message Martha anytime, tell her how great UNC is. She'll love it. But
I'll pass the message on to my sister.
The town, when you find people that'll just be there, right? That's huge in many ways. So
and when you find the people that want you to win, that's huge, because in this space, right? In this space, it's very competitive and it's very overshadowing and it's very just cutthroat almost in so many different spaces that I've been in and that I've tried to, and it doesn't resonate with me because I want others to win as bad as I want to win, right? If I have to step on you in order to get above you, then I don't want to be above you. I don't want to be like, I want to help celebrate, help others win, because I win when you win. I win when my sister wins. I win when my neighbor wins. I win when my church wins. I win when anybody around me that I'm part of that community, when they win, guess what? I win. And I'm getting that same tally mark as they are, because we're a community. We're not meant to do life alone. We're not on this desert island and having to fend for ourselves. We have community for a reason, but we also have the community that we embrace. So if you're not embracing a community that's lifting you up, and if you're not embracing a community that wants you to win, and if you're embracing a community that's only competitive, then get out, because that's not the kind of community that you want to be part of.
Way to tell them.
Sorry, mic drop. Boom.
Right? There's a look. Actually, Jim dropped the flames for you. It's always weird when someone says mic drop to me, because my name's Mike. Let me tell you something that will be deleted later. That right there. That will be deleted later. That whole thing right there.
Oh, I love them so much. See, my community is also humorous. I have a humorous community.
Yeah, we're all dying laughing about that one. Just so you know, delete. Thank God they have that feature here on this platform of deleting comments that are just hateful remarks. The signed Delaware City, the town in Delaware. So where can people find this book?
So it's on Amazon, but you can also go to my landing page, which is www.letglorishine.com. Just so everyone knows. So Glory is also my middle name. My name is Martha Glory, and I was named by Cult Man, which is right.
Your middle name's Glory?
Yes.
I just thought it was like a book stunt thing to put Glory in their name.
That's my middle name.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. That is so awesome. That makes the book even better. And I didn't know that was possible.
You're learning new things every day. Don't you love that, Michael? Yeah, so Glory is my middle name. Do you want me to blow your mind even more? It's also Smyrna's middle name, and it's also my niece's middle name. So we've kept this whole thing going. See, Malia? Anyway, so I was named by Cult Man, and for the longest time, I didn't like my name because I didn't like me. So how could I like my name, right? But when I fully embraced who I was, I realized that I was actually given a name that would create a movement, and it would bring glory to God through my story, through my testimony. And I have fully now embraced glory as in, who I am, but also with let glory shine, right? Let the light of God shine through you. Let the light of the universe, whatever it is that you believe, let it shine through you. Let it be your glory, right? So I feel like your mind is just blown with, I didn't know that you didn't know that my name's not Martha Glory. My name is Martha Glory.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm in shock. And then there's 7 other Glories. I'm like, what? It's a gloriful family. That's awesome. So many things make more sense now, and I think are cooler than before.
Oh, good.
Right? You're cooler than I gave credit to. I don't know about the other ones, but you're cooler than I thought. And the other ones, they still got a lot of proving to do. If someone wanted to find you, get a hold of you. Also, what if I wanted a signed copy?
If you want a signed copy, so all you have to do is you can go to my landing page again. There's a little contact form, fill out the contact form, and I am happy to do that. There's also a link on my website that says if you want an autographed copy. So you can also do that. So it's all on my website. It's the landing page is www.letglorishine.com. And I'm also doing an official book launch July the 12th locally here in North Carolina and in Durham. So if you're in the area, come out on July 12th to the Zinc House, and I'll be signing books there as well. So you have many opportunities to get a signed copy from me.
I might have to do that. Just randomly drive through Durham. That is awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was about to be like, and what if I wanted to get a signed copy in person? What would I have to do? So I'm glad I didn't have to go down each of the avenues with you. Everybody wants to find you. Where can they find you?
So I'm on social media under my name, Martha Glory Kartaoui. Or you can also go to Let Glory Shine, and all my information is on my website. So my coaching programs on the website, my book information, my podcast, everything that I have done up to this far is all on my website. But social media is a great place to find me, to send me a message. I do read my messages still until I get somebody to start reading Michael. I still have to read my own. And I do respond. I do respond to my own messages too. And like Michael said a few minutes ago, I'm very serious about, if you just want to chat with somebody, like, please reach out. Just know that you're not alone, and I'm happy to have that conversation. I don't care if I coach you or not. I just want you to know that I'm another human that cares, and I will respond. So yeah,
that's awesome. I still read my own, unfortunately. I get some weird ass messages. If you wanted to leave everyone, we had like over 40 people at one time watching this tonight. If you wanted to leave people with something other than the amazing book, right? Look, it's everyone's saying she is amazing. Thank you, Martha. All right, I'm so glad I could catch this. Just so you know, Pete, the love being poured into this, right? And the impact you're having tonight, and the people that are hearing this. I didn't know how this would turn out on a holiday Monday. It turned out all right. You wanted to leave them with something. What would you leave them with?
You're worth it. I'm here to tell you that you're worth it. I'm here to tell you that you are worth the strength that's inside of you. I promise is way bigger than you can imagine, and you're stronger than you can imagine, and you are so worth the work. And I want you to know that. And I want you to be able to look at in the mirror and be like, Martha Glory, I love you. And whoever you are, Michael Faber, I love you. I want you to be able to say that with so much emphasis and so much gratitude and so much love that it just beams right off of you. Like that's what the work does, is you get to be able to look at yourself and say, I love you. And I feel it in every fiber of my body. Right. And I want you to do that, but I want you to feel that worth first, because that's where it all starts.
If my middle name was Glory, I would have already done it. Martha, thank you for taking your time on a holiday Monday to come talk with us.
No, thank you for taking your time on your platform. I can't thank you enough. This has been so much fun. And thank you for everybody that tuned in and said all those nice things. I promise I didn't pay most of them. So thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And I just, yes, thank you.
That is, I will say, funny piece. When you said it, I was like, does she want me to go in the mirror and say, Martha Glory, I love you? Right? Because I was like, people might be like, what? All right. My daughter would be like, the hell are you just saying?
Whatever your name is.
Nice. All right. That was awesome. I'm glad they said that, because I was like, I am not going to say this, but that is what it sounded like. It's in my head. No, thank you. Thank you for pouring into people. Thank you for being so open and real about your story and who you are and what you went through, and to inspire others and empower others. Congratulations on your bestseller already. One for one. When's the next one out? I'm kidding.
Hey, there's another one coming, and I already have a title, but I don't want to share it. So
don't share it yet. I have no doubt. Let's ride the first one so the wheels fall off, and then the second one will hit the grand slam with it too.
Let's do it.
You're awesome. I'm excited I get to see you speak in like a week. All right. And
very soon.
Right. I can't wait. You're awesome. I love the energy you bring. I love the person you are. I can't wait for more to experience it, because they're going to say the same thing. You're going to change a lot of lives. I can't wait to say I witnessed it. Thank you again. Thank you for everyone that stopped in. You know the deal. Peace, love, and happiness. Long live the Unleashed. Or howdy, tell them something they don't know about me.
Thank you.